Good afternoon, everybody, and a very, very warm welcome to this afternoon's online safety webinar. It's good to see so many people. I can see the numbers are still climbing. I know it's a very hot afternoon to be sitting in front of your laptop, so thank you all very much for taking the time out to join us. Many of you will know that we first tackled online safety as an issue at our national conference in 2024 when Police Scotland came along and delivered a session like this afternoon's, and the feedback from it was overwhelmingly that everybody needed to hear the messages in the session. So we tried to recreate it in the 2025 conference, and the limitations on policing resources being what they are, they were unable to join us on the day. So I am delighted to welcome DC Mark Gordon from the Cybercrime and Fraud Prevention team, who's also taking time out this afternoon to share his expertise with us. And just in case anyone's not aware, and I would love to say that we had planned this, but it is actually just a happy coincidence. Today is the date that Pope Leo has published his first encyclical, and the topic of it is safeguarding the human person in the time of artificial intelligence, and it was available from 10:30 this morning. So if anyone is interested in what Pope Leo has to say about AI, you can go online after this webinar and download the PDF. It's called Magnificat Humanitas. But I will now pass over to DC Mark, who is going to take us through his presentation for online safety. It will last about 40 to 45 minutes, and then we will have time for Q&A. So please feel free to put any questions that you have into the chat function as we go. So over to you, Mark.
Hello everyone, welcome along. Thank you for coming along this afternoon as well. I know it's a really nice day for most people in most areas. I know it is here, so thank you for coming inside to listen to me this afternoon. As Hannah said, I am DC Mark Gordon, part of Police Scotland's Cybercrime and Fraud Prevention team. We're a small national unit, so we aren't the team that are out there trying to track down the cyber criminals and put them in jail. We're trying to get out in front of the problem, try to prevent cybercrime and fraud from happening in the first place, and we do so by passing on guidance, security guidance, online safety guidance to people, whether it's groups like yourselves, whether it's large, small organizations. We do work in schools, across all sorts of organizations to try and spread the message far and wide. This isn't a technical presentation at all. I know sometimes as soon as the word cyber is mentioned, it can put people off because they think it's going to be technical. Nothing too technical today. I'm just going to take you through some hints on tips on how you can stay more safe online and look at some scams and the ways that cyber criminals can potentially target you online. So we'll start off with passwords. We got a lot of information from the National Cybersecurity Centre, and they tell us the best advice to pass on to the public. So they say there's two ways to keep yourself instantly more secure online. And those two ways are safe and secure passwords and two-step verification. And we'll come on to two-step verification in a few slides. But we'll start with passwords. And it seems like a really, really basic thing is having a strong password, because everyone knows you're supposed to have one. Everyone knows it makes you stronger and more secure online. However, the most popular password in the world is still 123456, and the second most popular is still password 1. So as long as those are the most popular passwords in the world, we need to keep getting the messaging out because it obviously isn't cutting through. So the National Cybersecurity Centre say to have a strong, secure password, you should use 3 random words. That's 3 random words, as you can see on the screen there, like apple, fish, pen. Stick them all together to make one long password, and you can add in characters and numbers to make it even more secure. Now, it's really important that you have a different password for each of your online accounts. Now, the average person has 30 online accounts that they'll log into on a regular basis, whether that's their work accounts, social media, emails, online shopping. If you start thinking about all the things that you're signed up to and all the things you have to sign into for work and social media and things, 30 maybe doesn't seem like quite such a big number. So if you have 30 online accounts, you should have 30 different passwords. Reason being, if a password does get compromised and that cyber criminal does have your login and password, they can only access one of your online accounts. Whereas if you've got a different password for each if you have the same password for all of your accounts, potentially every single one of your accounts could be compromised at the loss of just one password. The reason for random is because people were putting regularly what we call personal identifiable information into their passwords. And I am guilty of that. Before I was in this team, my password was my dog's name and the year I was born. And that was my password for every single one of my online accounts. So I know for sure, and I say it, and usually I say it in presentations when I'm in the room so I can look at people's guilty faces. I always say, I know someone in this room has got a pet's name for their password. And the reason I can always say that is because I've done it myself. But if you're using a pet's name, if you're using personal identifiable information like a school name, a street name, a mother's maiden name, something that might be found on your social media, a cyber criminal could potentially use that information from your social media to guess your password. So that's why we use random. We'll come on to information that cyber criminals can get from your social media later on. Just a short video now is to explain random in terms of passwords, because they say random and they say to add special characters and numbers in. And there's a tendency that people tend to use the same things all the time. So no matter how random they are, people tend to make the same options. So you've got your 3 random words, you've got your different password for each of your online accounts. So that's the first thing the National Security Centre are advising. So the second step is to add 2-step verification to all of your accounts that will allow it. Most accounts do, so most of your email providers, social media platforms will allow you to add 2-step verification to your account. And what that is an extra layer of security on your account. Most people will have used this probably on online banking. And it works on the premise of having something you know and something you have. So something you know is your username and password. And normally that would log you into your account. With 2-step verification, you also need to have something. So you know the username and password, but you need to have a security code. So you type in your username and password, a code will get sent to you, either to your mobile phone or to a authenticator app on your phone. You type that code in and then you get access to the site. As I say, a really, really good extra layer of security. It doesn't take long to set up. There's some good YouTube videos as well that show you step by step how to set it up for all the main kind of social media accounts. The importance of this was shown to us just a few months back when the CEO of a business got in touch with us and he said, I think my business is under cyber attack. And we had said, well, what's leading you to believe that? And he said, well, I woke up on Sunday morning and I had 95 codes through my verification app. So someone 95 times had tried to access his account guessing passwords and the code kept coming to his phone. So a really good extra layer of security there for your online accounts. So next bit we're going to talk about is your digital footprint. It's what does the information you're putting out there about yourself, or if you're parents, about your children, potentially lead to criminality? Can cyber criminals use the information you're putting out there to attack you? Absolutely they can. So your digital footprint refers to the trail of data that's left behind when you use the internet. That could be websites you visit, emails you send, and most importantly, what you post on social media. So we have a mock-up here of a Facebook page. The reason we've used Facebook and not any of the other social media sites is just because it gets the point across of how much information that people can share about themselves. In a previous role I had in the police was in the counter-terrorism world, and one of the jobs I had was to research people that were coming into the country to make sure that they weren't potentially people that may be on our watch lists and things. So with very limited information that we would get on the booking details, I would go to open source, I would go to the internet and to social media to try and find more information. And we could always find more information on people's social media than we could on any police system. because the information on police systems is the information we've learned through interactions with people. So we only know what we know. Whereas people's social media, they're uploading things constantly and it's constantly updating with new information. So let's take you through Chloe's page here and see some of the issues that could arise from her page and some of the ways that she could be targeted. And first of all, on the right-hand side there, you'll see her settings are set to public. If Chloe's settings are set to public, that means anyone can go on there and get all the information that she's posting, which it may not sound too bad. You may be thinking, what's the issue with that? But remember we spoke about people guessing passwords. So a first step for a cyber criminal, if they're going to target a person or target an organization, is they'll identify a person within the organization, or identify the person they want to target, and they'll look at their social media. And this is called social engineering. They'll engineer their social media to see what information they can glean to potentially attack them. And remember we spoke about personally identifiable information. So could Chloe have used her dog's name as part of her password? Possibly. So there's something to try. Or could she have used her school name? Or maybe there's something else to try. Or maybe even her date of birth, because it's all on her page here and it's all information that we could potentially get. So if your settings are public, everyone can see their information. So it's really important that we keep our settings as private as we possibly can. And I know on a lot of other sites, sites like Instagram in particular and X, part of the program is, or part of the fun is to grow followers, to build a big following. And if you want to build a big following, you can't be private because you want as much people to see your content as possible. If that's your aim, is to build as much followers as you can, then I'd recommend having 2 accounts. Have one for your personal information or your close friends, and another public account that you don't put personal information on. And that takes us to the second issue of Chloe's page here, is the amount of friends on her friends list. The writing's quite small, so you might not be able to see it, but it says there Chloe's got 834 friends. And I'm here to tell you right now, no one in the world has 834 friends. Most people don't even have 34 friends. I'm in the police, I don't even have 4 friends. If you have got 834 friends on your friends list, even if you've set your settings to private, you're letting 834 people see this information. Do you know who these people are? Is it people you went to school with 20 years ago? Is it people that you once worked with? Is it someone that you met on an afternoon out that you don't really know, but you just bumped into them and they're a friend of a friend? If there's people on that list that you're giving access to your information, take them off the list. Other things that are causing issues around Chloe's page, and we mentioned date of birth, and that was always a really important one when I was looking for information, was to find someone's date of birth. And you don't have to put it on social media, but lots of people do, because it's nice on your birthday to get lots of messages from people wishing you a happy birthday. What I found was, even people who didn't include their date of birth on their profile, I could usually get their date of birth because in their photos, somewhere, there'd be a picture of them with a cake or with balloons behind them, celebrating their birthday, with lots of comments underneath from other followers wishing them a happy birthday. So I knew what their birthday was by the date stamp on the photograph. Why might that be important? Well, if you want to steal someone's identity, I know straight off the bat here that Chloe, her middle name is Summer, so I've got her full name. She doesn't need to put her full name on her profile. I've got her date of birth. There you go. That's all I need to start up potentially credit card accounts or who knows what else in terms of stealing her identity. A few other things about personally identifiable information as well. When we set up an online account, we usually have to create a username, or it's created for us. We create our password, and we're always asked security questions. And the reason for these security questions is if you forget our password, we click on I forgot my password, and they will ask us one of these security questions, which we'll know the answers to, and we can provide them. Everyone gives honest answers to those questions, but you don't have to, as long as you remember the answer you've given. If the question is mum's maiden name, you can put down Mickey Mouse. As long as you remember what you've answered, that's all you need to answer the security question. And the reason it's sometimes good to not give the real answers is because the information might be found here. For example, your first school is often one of the questions on those security questions, and Chloe here's got her first school up on the left-hand side there telling you where she studies. So again, limit the information that's out there about yourself. Even if it's answers to security questions, you don't have to give the genuine answers when you first set up those questions. Something else to bear in mind here as well is not just cyber criminality and cyber criminals, but any other kind of criminal might be able to get information from someone's account. So I have a friend who is a videographer, and he does videography and photography for weddings and corporate events. And as a little sideline, he reviews technology on YouTube. So he gets video cameras, drones, all expensive filming and photography equipment sent to him to do a review on his page because he gets a lot of followers on his page. And one day, one of these clips caught my eye and I clicked on it, and it was him coming out of his house. And he was just walking from his front door to his car, explaining that he'd just been sent a camera. He was going to a wedding venue that he was going to be working at that weekend to look at the wedding venue. He was going to test out the new camera and come back in a few hours and tell everyone how he got on. In the 29-second video that he posted, where he said all that, he came out of his front door, giving away his door number, and he walked past the street on which he lives, the street sign. So he's given away his home address. He's given away the fact he's going to be out for the next few hours. And he's given away the fact that he's got thousands of pounds worth of video and photography equipment in his house because he's always on the reviewing it. Little things like that we may be giving away that we don't realise, maybe in the background of pictures and videos and things. And another example of that here is on the right-hand side there. You see Chloe's put 2 minutes from my house, a picture of a park there, and she's even popped a little pin in a map to make it even easier for us to know where that park is. If I wanted to speak to Chloe, if I wanted to meet Chloe, chances are, I know she's got a dog. If I hang around that park long enough, Chloe's going to come walking along with her dog at some point. Can I learn enough about Chloe from her Facebook page to make her trust me? So, for example, if in her friends list she has got an Uncle John, can I say, "Hi Chloe, I'm Mark. I know I'm friends with your Uncle John." Straight away, Chloe's going to think, "Oh, you must know me from my uncle, but I don't know how." Straight away, her guard's down, and I've managed to approach her, and who knows what kind of criminality could come from there on. So don't just think about cyber criminality, think about physical criminality as well. A good rule of thumb when it comes to posting on social media, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on X or any of these platforms, before you post whatever it is you're ready to post, have a think about it. Think about who do I want to see this? Do I really want to post this? And I like to imagine a big cinema screen outside the front of wherever you live. And if whatever you're away to post is about to go on the cinema screen outside the front of your house, and all your neighbours can see it, people visiting your neighbours can see it, delivery people can see it, postal deliveries, people out walking their dogs, people just driving by. If you don't want all of those people to see that information, then it's probably not the sort of thing you want to be putting on the internet, because once it's out there, you've lost control of it and you don't know who can see it. So we'll look on now at some popular scams and the way people are caught out online. And this is one that everyone will know about, I'm sure. They'll all have heard of phishing emails, and everyone, I'm sure, gets them on a regular basis. So essentially, phishing emails are a scam designed to make you do something you don't want to do. They want you to click on a link, part with money, or part with information. And you don't want to do that. So how do they persuade you to do it? Well, they do it in a few ways. They used to be quite rudimentary, these emails, and they used to be really easy to spot, but they're becoming more sophisticated now and they're becoming better. So you will get an email. Often they'll purport to be from your bank or a mobile phone provider, for example, and they want you to click a link and give them information. So how do they get you to click that link? They'll either tell you that you have to do it quickly, so you're in a rush, so you have to make a snap decision. They're going to tell you that it's important, and they're probably going to say there's something in it for you. So they're going to say there's something wrong with your account, click this link and we'll fix it for you. Or there's something wrong with your payments, click this link, update your payment details, and everything will be fine. So they give us it's almost like a carrot and a stick. They give you something, a reason to want to do it. I better click this link and fix that because they're telling me I need to do it quickly. Throws you off, makes you do something you don't want to do. A good rule of thumb for emails: if you receive an email from anyone with a link, don't click it straight away. Think about it. Read over the email carefully. Even double check the sender, double check where it came from, even reply to the organization if it is your bank and say, I've received this. I'm not sure whether I should click the link or not. It's easier doing it that way and taking your time over it than clicking a link and providing information that could potentially lose you money or worse. And our scam text messages work in exactly the same way. And I guarantee of the 30 odd people we have on the call here today, almost all of you, or at least half of you, will have had a text message saying that there's a delivery waiting for you at the collecting office, and click on this link and pay a small fee and they'll release the item and it'll be sent to you. More often than not, 99 times out of 100, 999 times out of 1,000, we're not waiting for a package, we're not waiting for a delivery, so we know it's a scam. And the scammers know that. They're not targeting us specifically. They're sending these text messages out in batches of thousands and thousands and thousands at a time, because they only need one person who is genuinely waiting for a parcel, waiting for a package or a delivery, to think, oh, that must be the package I'm waiting for. I'll just click the link and pay the fee. Again, same with the emails. If you get a text message asking you to click on a link, be very, very careful. That should immediately be a red flag for you to think, should I click this link? I need to know more information about it. And phone fraud is something that may not immediately spring to mind when we speak about cybercrime, but it is related, and we see it a lot because people, scammers, often purport to be the victim or the person at the other end of the phone's bank. It's a really, really common phone scam. They'll call up, they'll say, it's such and such from your bank, and whatever excuse they'll have, there's a problem with your account, but we can fix it for you right now if you stay on the line. I just need a few details from you. Fraudsters and scammers rely on the fact that most people are really nice people, genuine people, polite people. If they're asked a question, they'll give an honest answer. And they know the majority of people will not hang up the phone on them because people think, I can't just hang up the phone, that's really rude. The longer they keep you on the phone, the more chance there is that they'll manage to scam you. And they know that most polite people will at least give someone a try on the phone. So my advice is, if you get a phone call, particularly if it's from your bank or a utilities provider, mobile phone provider, double check it. Stop them in their tracks and say, sorry, I need to check out whether this call is genuine. Ask for their name and say, I'll get back to you. Then you hang up the call and then go away and check whether the person was genuine. If it's the bank, phone the phone number on the back of your bank card and say, I've just had a phone call, give the person's name from your organization. I'm just making sure that it was genuine. And if it is genuine, then that's fine. But if it isn't genuine, then there's a good chance you'll have stopped yourself being the victim. And this is something I really try and get across to people, because these scammers are really, really good at what they do. It's literally their job to sit there on the phone all day and scam people. They're really, really convincing. They're really, really good at what they do, and they're really, really good at keeping you on the phone because they know they can't get what they want from you unless you're on the phone. And the best way to combat that is to hang up and end the call. So if you get a call from anyone and it's relating to utilities, banking, whatever it might be, anything that you think might require you giving over financial details, banking details, or personal details, stop. Don't give any details over, hang up the phone and go and check. They'll try and tell you, they'll try and keep you on the line, and they'll say, no, you don't have time to do that. This is really urgent. You have to do it now. That's another red flag. No bank would say that to you. They would say, yeah, go away, check out. This is my name. This is where I work. And then that would bottom it out. So don't feel you have to do it. Don't feel rushed. Don't feel cornered by them because that's exactly what they're trying to do. This is a new one we started covering in our presentations because it is really prevalent at the moment. We're seeing this happening really, really regularly, and it's investment scams. They come in different forms. Some of them are cold calls. Some of them are social media adverts. Maybe you might have seen some of them yourselves online. What they'll tend to do is they'll use a celebrity to advertise the product, despite the fact the celebrity has got no involvement with the product. And Martin Lewis, the financial expert, was the victim of this before, and they used an artificial intelligence generated video of him saying that this investment was a great investment when it wasn't him. The advert you can see on the screen there looks like Graham Norton, doesn't it? But it isn't Graham Norton. It's just an artificially generated image that I created myself. I just put it into an AI generator and asked, create me an advert for a cryptocurrency called Goodcoin advertised by Graham Norton. And that's what I got a few seconds later. That's how easy it is to do. Literally 10 seconds, got that advert, and a cybercriminal can put that out online, advertising investment opportunities. People are really, really falling foul of these regularly, and they're losing huge amounts of money. We've had elderly people losing their entire life savings, their entire pension. We're seeing people who are investing large sums of money, believing that they're going to get good returns on it, and they're not, because it's cyber criminals that are at the other end of the call. So be really careful if you see these online. If something sounds too good to be true, then it usually is. And I always like to take things from the cyber world into the real world to give real world examples, like with the cinema screen outside the house. So for this one, I would say, if someone that you don't know out of the blue stops you on the street and says to you, if you place £20, a £20 note in my hand right now, I'll come back here at this exact spot at this exact time, this time next week, I'll give you £100 back. I'm willing to bet not a single person would hand over that £20 note. So what's the difference on the online world? If something seems like a really good deal, then you should be asking questions about it. There are ways to research companies if you are looking to invest money. As it says on the screen there, the Financial Conduct Authority has got a firm checker, so you can run the company name through there to make sure it's a genuine company. But please, if you see any of these offers online offering high returns, be very, very careful with them. People are losing lots and lots of money, and it's really concerning because it's happening more and more at the minute. Just kind of finish off with how to report phishing. So we know how to report to the police, but if you receive a phishing email or if you receive a text message, and the number is cut off at the bottom of the screen there, if you receive a phishing email or a phishing email you believe might be a phishing email, forward it to report@phishing.gov.uk. They will be able to assess the email and decide whether it's a scam email or whether it's a genuine one. You'll get an automatic reply through to thank you for sending the email through. If it is a genuine one, they won't do anything with it. If it's not a genuine one, they'll take action to try and find where it's originated and try and take these sites down. It's a really, really important tool to use. It not only helps the offenders get tracked down and stop these phishing emails going out, but it also helps law enforcement build up a picture of how these emails are working, how these scams are working. The same with text messages. The number's cut off on the screen there, but it's 7726. So if you get a text message through that you think is a scam text message, forward it on to 7726, and they'll do exactly the same with it. They'll go and look and see if it is genuine and potentially take down whoever the sender of that text message is. So, top 5 takeaways to finish up with. Number 1 is your strong separate passwords using 3 random words. Different password for each of your online accounts. And remember the importance of random, no personal identifiable information in there. Number 2, set up 2-step verification. You can do this quickly and easily for most of your online accounts, whether it's email accounts and social media. There's good how-to videos on YouTube that will show you how to do that as well. Number 3 is think about your digital footprint before posting things. Once something's sent, once you've posted it, you've lost control of it. So do you really want to post this? Do you really want it to be out there? And if I do post it, do I want to let everyone see it, or do I want to minimize it as much as I can so only a few people get to see it? Number 4, beware when asked to click links or provide personal information. The biggest red flag there is if you get sent an email and there's a live link in that email, be very, very careful before clicking it. And on the phone in particular, if you're asked at any point to provide personal information or banking information, stop in your tracks, tell the person, no, I need to check that this is genuine, hang up the phone, and then go away and do your checks. That little safety net that you give yourself by hanging up the phone gives you time to think, gives you time to find out whether it's genuine. And number 5, block and report social media platforms and report to Police Scotland. If you see something online on a social media app that you don't like, block the sender, block whoever's bought the poster, report it to the platforms. It's important the platforms keep getting sent reports to tell them if there's content on their sites that needs taken down or needs actioned. Some of them are better than others at dealing with that, but they should all be told anyway. And also report to Police Scotland. Really, really important. We've had things in the past where people have thought I was going to report it, but I didn't want to. And then by the time they reported it, things had got out of hand. Really, really important. If you think the Police Scotland need to know about it, then report it to us. And that is a really, really quick tour through the world of cybersecurity, and we've got plenty of time for questions.
Nodding along a lot of the times, a lot of it resonated. We have got a question here from Andy, who says he uses a password manager for his account and recently upgraded the password manager to an encrypted source. And his question is, how safe are password managers?
Yeah, like anything else, it depends how good the password manager is that you're using. So I would say if you're going to use a password manager, do a bit of research to make sure it's a good one. It's one that has been recommended online, just the same way as you would if you were researching anything else that you were going to buy or going to use as a product. Some are better than others. So if you're going to use a password manager, then do a bit of research to make sure it's a good, reputable one. Your online security firms like Norton and places like that, they'll all do password managers, so you'll know to go through them. A good rule of thumb, I would say.
Okay, thanks very much, Mark. And we have Eileen here who would like a bit of information about linking what you've said to protecting children or vulnerable people. So I don't know if you've got any advice on, how we can talk to teenagers and talk, especially teenagers who are notorious for not wanting to talk to adults, just to make sure that their online behaviour is safe.
Yeah, and you've highlighted a point there as well by talking to teenagers can be difficult sometimes, so it can be very difficult. But I think keeping yourself aware and keeping yourself up to date of what's going on in the world is really important. And you can do that by talking to the teenagers, showing an interest. What are they doing online? If they're playing a game, ask them what the game is. Or if they're using a platform, ask them what the platform is. Not in a suspicious kind of way, but just in a out of interest. Even spend time with them online to see what they're doing. Get a bit of an interest for it yourself, then you'd be able to learn exactly what it is they're doing online. But I appreciate that can be really difficult because when they're in their online world and in their own space, that can be their own time, and they don't necessarily want their parents to be or carers to be kind of intruding on that. But it is important that you kind of keep yourself, I think, up to speed with things, because it's difficult for us as well, because we'll hear incidents happening on a certain online platform and we'll all be asking each other, have I heard of that platform before? I'm not sure if I know that, because as we said earlier, things change so often and there's always something new. But yeah, keeping up to speed and speaking, having open conversations with your children about what it is they're doing online, about some of the concerns that you might have for them online, because maybe they'll be able to quell some of your own concerns if the online world's something that you don't know much about and you're maybe a bit too afraid to ask.
Thanks very much, Mark. And I'm sure some people here have already heard my confession about when my son was about maybe 12 or 13 years old. We'd put an app on his phone to cut the internet off overnight so that any drama that was going on outside school wasn't coming in on his phone overnight. And one morning he was stricken when he confessed to me that he had overrode the app to speak to a friend, but had switched it back on again afterwards. They run rings around us in the cyber world.
Yeah, and I think what's really important as well is to remember that they can get access to this online world through their phone. So wherever their phone is, they've got that access. And particularly with young people at school age children, when it comes to things like bullying, and back in the days before social media was so accessible, or before it even existed, they could kind of leave that at the school gates. They could come home, they've got the safe sanctuary of home, they can shut the front door, go in the room, whatever, and the bullies can't get to them. Whereas now they have access to the person all the time, they've got access to the child all the time. So I know people have got different rules. I've heard of people who all their phones stay in the kitchen at night, so no one gets to take their phone upstairs with them at all, or to the bedrooms at all. The whole family kind of do it as a group, just to kind of encourage them not to have their phone with them at night times, because certainly, scrolling at night is bad for sleep, it's bad for concentration. You don't know what they're looking at, and it can affect their school life, it can affect their health. So little things like that, introducing that into their kind of routine might help as well.
Yeah, thanks very much, Mark. Question here from Tony. Is there a one-page handout with the 5 hints and tips?
Yeah, what I can do is I can send the slides in PDF form to yourself, and you can share them all together.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. One from Andy. Is there a guide on the pros and cons of specific social media sites for parents to explain to kids?
Yeah, there is. The Police Scotland have one of my former colleagues put together a guide, a really good guide, actually won an award. So it's a social media guide for parents and carers. It talks about social media, some of the problems with it, some of the issues, and why they exist. And it's also got a section on different social media platforms and the issues that various different platforms may have, and also what they're used for genuinely and what they actually really are, because we don't want to give the impression that everything's bad online, because there's lots of positivity for young people online as well. It's not just a murky, horrible world for them to get involved in. There's lots of positivity that can be found there as well for them.
Okay, thanks very much, Mark. It does sound as if that there are a lot of resources available through the police on your website and so on. So we've got a question here from Martin. So do you think schools themselves might be guilty of exposing pupils to risk by providing information on social media and the internet? And similar as you identified with Chloe, is there consistent advice and risks rules for schools that they should share limited information?
It's a difficult one. It's a difficult one. I know schools have their own rules around what they share as schools online, and different consents, whether parents consent to having images and things put online. So it's not for me to say whether I think they should or shouldn't do that. But as a general rule for everyone, and particularly with the development of artificial intelligence technology these days, the less images that are out there of our children, young people, the better. The less chance there is of those images being used or taken or altered and used for things that we don't want them to be used for. So my personal advice, not to schools, is just in general, is be very, very careful of what you're sharing online, how much you're sharing online. You know, it's okay for an adult to control what they're sharing about themselves, but remember that if you've got children, young people, they don't have control of that. You've got control of that. So are you putting them at risk by sharing their images and their information? And I think not just schools, but everyone in general needs to be really mindful of oversharing and how much is out there about their children and young people.
Okay, thank you very much, Mark. And I know at this time of year, we do have issues in our parishes. I'm just looking to see if anyone's mentioned it in the chat, but not yet. It's First Communion time of year. And quite often, parents, meaning very well and very excited about their child's special day, will go in and take photographs of a whole group of children all dressed up for their First Communion and post it on social media. And that is an issue that we do have at this time of year. We have a question here. Can information be ever permanently removed from social media platforms?
Yes and no is the not ideal answer to that. Is if so information can be moved from a social media site, a post can be taken down, an image can be taken down, but what we don't know is where that image is gone or where that bit of information is gone after it's been on the site. So it can be taken off the site, but who's copied it from the site, who's taken it away from the site. So yes, information can be permanently removed from a social media platform in terms of people being able to see it, but it's not permanently removed from the internet because it could be out there somewhere. So that's why we always need to be mindful. As soon as we put something out there, we've lost control of it. We don't really know if it's ever going to be completely removed because who's taken a copy of the information or the image or whatever it might be. So yes and no is the answer to that one.
Yeah, thanks very much, Mark. And I know that was one of the kind of draws of some of the early platforms like Snapchat and so on, that children believed if they posted something on Snapchat, it was seen and deleted. But of course, then other people can take screenshots or save things and forward them on. And I know that
the same as well when I spoke about the Facebook page and limiting your friends' accounts. And we need to be really careful about that as well, because we don't know how secure our friends' accounts are. So they could be sitting at work all day with Facebook up and wondering about, and people wondering about the office, being able to look at the information on their computer. So, or maybe their whole family have got access to that one Facebook account. So you might think one person's at the other end looking at it, but you don't know how secure they are at that end. So even when you are really, really secure, you don't know how secure, you don't know really the reach of the image or whatever it is you're posting on social media. So always be mindful of that as well. Even though you're limiting it to an extent, you still can't limit it entirely.
Yeah, okay, thanks very much, Mark. A question here from Barbara. Can a child or young person's phone be linked to a parent's phone to enable the adult to monitor online activity?
Yeah, there are parental controls that allow you to do that with phones and online as well. Again, as I spoke about the password managers, do a bit of research, find out the best ones to use, the ones that will do the things that you want them to do. I know it can be a difficult subject as well when it comes to privacy, and are you infringing on the privacy of the child and things like that. So there is other issues to consider, but Yeah, those parental controls do exist. So do a bit of research and find out online. A lot of mobile phone providers will have their own functions as well that can provide that.
Okay, thank you very much, Mark. As long as the children don't find their way around them. I'll give it maybe another minute to see if any more questions come in. I just want to clarify one thing. Someone has congratulated you, Mark, on publishing your first book. Can I just check with you, have you published a first book, Mark? Or
not in relation to policing, no.
No, all right, okay. So I'm not sure if that was a comment that was directed at you from someone who'd been able to find out about your book, or whether someone maybe came in and missed the first part of what I said at the beginning of the webinar, which is that today Pope Leo has published his first encyclical on safeguarding in the world of artificial intelligence. So just in case someone misheard me there at the start, Pope Leo's first encyclical was published today, and it is called Magnificat Humanitas and is about safeguarding people in the world of artificial intelligence. So just in case that was a misunderstanding there. And I think that's us come to the end of our questions. Mark, I'm not seeing any more here in the chat function. So I think what remains to be said, Marcus, thank you very much for coming along, taking the time out to share your expertise with us today. There's some clapping hand emojis coming up my screen.
If anyone does have any issues or questions out of what was said today, then you've got my email address, so if they come to you, and you can pass them on, and I'll try and answer any of their questions they may have.
That would be great. Thank you very much, Mark. It was certainly quite sobering and eye-opening, but definitely very, very necessary to know about. So thank you very much. Thank you to everyone again who's given up time on this very sunny afternoon to be with us, and I hope you all found it very useful. Okay, thank you very much.